Dearest nerds and gig lovers, tonight my guest is none other than Thorn Faustus. We have creator, CEO of Venom Fest, performer, model, video director, all around badass, amazing. How are you doing, Thorn?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm so glad I got this chat with you.
I'm really excited.
So
really excited.
Just a quick note for anybody who doesn't know this, but actually the very first time I ate fire, Thorn was the one kind of going from the sidelines going, you've got it, it's okay, you're fine, and stopped me from burning my face off as well. So thank you very much, lovely.
Okay.
Now, you are the CEO of Venom Fest, which is coming up on the 15th of February at the Anarchy Brewery, which is a banging venue, by the way, if anyone hasn't been there. It's just
fantastic
unreal.
venue.
It's for anyone who hasn't seen the Venom Fest on any social media, which you should have, because it's all over the place, and so it should be. It is music, it is Gorelesque, it is food, it is tattoos, it is just about everything you want. There's stands with like alternative stuff on them as well.
And markets, yeah.
Markets. We are so lucky that we have you doing this, because the bands that you put on are just insane. You've had previously, I think you've had Manners, haven't you? Yeah.
Manners, LN,
yeah.
Negatives. I could keep going. There's been so I've been very lucky with the selection I've managed to pull out.
You know what it is. It's not. I don't necessarily think it's luck. I think it's your talent and your promoting. I think, you know, as second I stepped back into the music industry after a long break, your name was there, and I think that shows initially straight away. Like, who's this? I mean, I walked in initially and was like, who's this chick? Who is this? When I walked into the fire room, and you just shone out completely. So
thank you.
Totally amazing. There's also performers on. I'm going to just quickly go through. So do you mind telling me which bands are on this time?
So Drenched is headlining, our boys from Berwick. We've got To Nowhere, Monarchs and Culturist.
All of which are amazing. Mm-hmm. You've got to check these out, because Drenched have this really cool kind of like almost 2000s kind of metal vibe. That's kind of it's something that I would have loved.
Deftones and Tool sort of vibes, like sexy metal. Like, it's really, really cool.
And then obviously Monarchs, they're a bit heavier. I think they're quite in your face kind of.
Yeah, really into them. Yeah.
Culturist are different. I've not. From what I've heard of them, they kind of, I find it very hard to put a band that I can sort of say they sound like. They've got a few different vibes.
They're heavy as well, like a little bit like hardcore vibes at times as well. I really, really enjoy them. And then To Nowhere as well. I've had them before. In fact, To Nowhere and Monarchs, I've had both of them at my first ever Viper Den, which was a band only gig that I did. Bit of a spin-off of Venom, and their energy was amazing, and they're so supportive of like other bands and me, so I had to pull them in for Venom Fest, and I'm really excited to see them on like the big stage.
Absolutely. And I've seen To Nowhere. They're one that I have actually seen, because I saw them supporting. I think Manners are head of steam.
I was there also.
We're there, so we seem to get in the same places, because Thorn is the only person who has seen me do 2 of my challenges.
Mm-hmm. I was there when you were in the mosh pit at LN. I was that. I knew that you were going to do it, and I was like, oh God.
While I cowered behind the biggest guy I could find as a meat shield, I was like,
you just got to like get some digs in and then go around.
And you were just
swing of the arm. I was in there barefoot. I was wearing a floor-length dress because I'd like performed. And me and my mate thought it'd be all right to be barefoot. It was quite freeing, actually. It was quite good. I enjoyed it.
Kept all your toes, no toes lost in it.
Yeah, it was minging though. It was minging. It was not gonna lie. I've got pictures of me and Fran at FL Mads, who performs with us. I've got pictures of our feet on the floor, like the booze covered floor in the Grove. Very classy. Very good.
My kind of girl.
Metal. It's just so metal.
Just so metal and so hardcore. No, I just lose my shoes anyway. It's just a thing. I don't even have to have a drink and lose my shoes. They're gone.
Yeah. It was a good mosh pit. It was really good. You jumped in. I was proud of you there. That was really good.
I jumped in and then I ran for my life.
It's scary. It is terrifying. I've got like too many piercings to really get involved in pits. I love a hardcore show, but I cannot. I've got to be on the outskirts, because one swipe and I'm losing chunks of my face.
Oh no. See, this is me. I know I've only got my ears done. I sometimes wear a nose clip. It's not real. If ever you see us with a nose ring, it's not, because I'm disaster zone and I would lose chunks of my nose, guarantee it. And I've got no tattoos at all in any way.
Haven't you?
Not a single tattoo. Very bizarre.
I think that's a vibe though.
Yeah.
I think it's a vibe. Like no tattoos, like how like beautiful your hair is, like that white blonde. I think it's like very vampy, very cool vibe.
Cute. It's great.
Right. No, you're given like villainess. I really, really, really like it.
Badass villain. Oh my god, you make this feel so good. Stop it. I don't know what to do with that. Also at Venom Fest, I'm going to quickly go through some of the performers as well, then we can have a chat about some of them as well. Lola Filth. I've got a funny story about Lola. You'll love that. FL Mads, who have you mentioned? Roos James.
Thorn
Faustus, I don't know who that is. The Dolly, Dahlia, and Blue Cyanide.
Blue Cyanide, it's her first time with us. Dolly, Dahlia, I had open last time, breathtaking. FL Mads, like unreal. And Roos levels it up every time. Lola is performing with us every time. She's just gorgeous to watch. It's like such a lineup. Like I really enjoy the show myself, like, so to get to watch all of them, it's like I like and fangirl and then perform. Oh yeah, it's really hard because I'd be like, yeah, screaming for like the bands and the performers, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to go on, and then I'm like shaking and panicking,
and the nerves hit you. I couldn't do it. I've said this a million times. I feel like this is something I couldn't do. I'm not a stage person. I am stagehand material. If someone needs sorting or screaming at or putting out that's on fire or, you know, mopping up, I'm your girl, right? But if I have to stick me in front of an audience, I turn into this shy little bunny rabbit.
Yeah, I do. I panic. And then I'll get halfway through and I'm like, actually, this is great. Every single time I'm like, why do I do this? And then I'll get on stage and I'm like, this is horrible, I'm going to pass out. And I'll be shaking, like trembling. And I'll do like one hair flip and I'm like, oh, she's here. And then I love the whole thing. And then at the end, when I'm like drenched in blood, I'm like, I don't want to get off stage. This is great. Like, so
you can't capture it. And then next time it's like, why am I doing this? What's going on?
Every time. It never gets easier.
So just a thing I've always noticed on your Venom Fest posters, I've noticed it sort of has a warning on it, generally saying, do not wear good clothes to this show. Please wear black or something you don't care getting covered in blood. Just, I mean, going pointing at Lola Filth, I'll come back to that in a minute. Just how much fake blood do you get through on these shows?
Litres. So normally, I do write blood warning, and I don't normally elaborate on the posters because people are kind of like, blood? Is it real blood? I'm like, you have to turn up. But I also don't want people to be upset if I've stained their clothes because we hit everyone. If anyone goes into Anarchy Brewery, look at the ceiling. We can't get it down. Like, and it is covered in blood. The staff at the end, they're so sound. They're so lovely. In fact, last time, as a sorry for the amount of blood that I get everywhere, every time, I took a bucket of sweets, like Halloween sweets, and a sorry/thank you card. And it was on the bar at the very, very end of the room, and you've been in there. It's a brewery, it's massive.
Yes, it's huge.
The end of the show, I went towards the end of the bar and I'd hit the card with the bar. Everyone, every member of the audience, every member of staff, everyone got covered in blood. So I had super soakers filled with blood. Me and FL Mads like ran on and we were just decking everyone.
So yeah, I love that. I love it. Funny. If you've never had any experience with fake stage blood, it does get everywhere and it can stick to you and it is epic. The last time I had any experience with it, Lola asked me to chuck some over her. The only problem is I was entirely inexperienced at this and I launched the entire bottle at her. It went all over her, it backsplashed onto me and it was all over the floor. It was all over somebody else who was stood next to her and it was just running down the walls behind her. And she was like,
everywhere.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's how it should be done. I don't think you should peel back on it, and now I kind of pride myself on it, and I think the audience have come to expect it now, and if I don't cover them in blood they'll be upset. So everyone that we have on is chucking handfuls of it and I'm like, yes.
And then
Right.
loads of people go to him. No wonder the guy at McDonald's looked at us funny last time. He's probably loads of people are finishing their after go show, turning up at the McDonald's drive-through looking like they've been through something, some sort of war zone. Like.
Happens to me very often. I did a video shoot a few weeks ago, and me and my friend were driving back up, and we were going to get some food, and he was like, "Are you going to come in?" I was like, "No." Like my whole face was like covered in blood from like this video shoot. I was like, "Best not, actually," but I'm covered in blood, fake blood.
Fake blood. It is fake blood.
It's fake blood.
It's fake blood
at all times.
My poor McDonald's guy who looked at me, not quite sure if I was like, I actually had classical music blasting out of the car, so he probably just looked out the window and was like, "That is not right." Like it was in
giving
my head.
Hannibal vibes.
Oh, that's not good. I'll not challenge her. That doesn't look very good. No, nobody asked if I was okay. Everyone was more concerned for their own safety.
Fair.
So what I do want to ask you, and one of the things that from somebody who's been in the music industry for a long time myself, and I've worked with promoters, why obviously Venom Fest, which was formerly Crypt Fest, why would you take on such a challenge? Why would you do it?
It was a gig that I wanted to see. So it's kind of selfish, but I love seeing my friends in bands perform. And then I would perform. I think I did my first Gorelesque back in like 2022. Funnily enough, it was in Anarchy. Different person, like completely from then to now. But I really enjoy watching like alternative performers, fire performance, and bands. I'd go and see my friends' bands. They'd come see me perform, and I'd be like, "Why isn't this crossing over?"
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I've got friends who are they own small businesses, they're vendors, and I was like, we maybe could just all be together, and it could be a place where all the weirdos gather, and like we can just be one community and cultivate opportunities where we all get paid for art, and we can all enjoy each other's art and just truly be ourselves. So I had to do it. I was terrified, really, really terrified. Didn't really know what I was doing. I am just beyond lucky that everyone around me is supportive and creative. A lot of my friends are in bands, so I could ask them questions. Vendors, I could ask them questions, and everyone, it was like a community effort. So it was really, really, really nice.
Which is incredible. And I've said this in a message to you before, but I am in awe of you. Like I would not have the guts to start that. And I had experience in this. It was just what you've done and what you've brought together is, like you say, it is what you want to see. And the fire stuff is cool, and the Gorelesque stuff. And it's an eye-opener, because for my era, that never really gelled together. You had maybe I used to go to Legends nightclub in Newcastle, and sometimes you would get a grind artist who would have like a grinder and a block, or sometimes you would get a fire eater for a minute or so on stage, and that was it was done. But it was never
not enough.
Yeah, it was never enough. It was never there. It was never kind of like, it was like cool, but it never really.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of seeing. So there'd be like Gorelesque, for one, there wasn't a lot of it, but when you see that we're all using alternative, we're all using like metal music, and then I'd go to, I mean, you see other festivals where they're music festivals, and sometimes they'll throw in like here's a fire performer for like 10 minutes, and it's like I wanted somewhere where we were like equally displayed on the bill. No, I didn't want anyone to feel like an afterthought or a filler or anything like that. We're all creatives, and we should all be like celebrated. So I wanted it to be like a really like meeting in the middle, just a load of goths really, having fun.
Would we have fun? Would goths have fun? Oh my word. Honestly, I think I mean, this is it. And one of the things I've noticed about the festival, I've never actually made it to one yet. It is something I've been hankering after for so long. Every time I've had it, it's been a schedule clash, or it's been, sort of, I'm a mum. It's just one of those things. It just happens. And I've seen it, and I've followed it, and I've stalked it on Instagram, and I've watched all the bits, and I've watched the artwork that you've done for it. And I've seen the boiler suits that you've created, and the general themes, and the videos, and the artwork that you've put out for it. You've worked with some amazing photographers and videographers like Eddie Maynard. Is it Eddie Maynard? Eddie Maynard, yes.
Eddie Maynard, yeah.
Blows my
Yeah, he's
mind.
fantastic. He's unreal. One of my best friends, Sam Wingrove as
Sam
well.
Wingrove, yeah.
Actually my partner. And he's it's like I'll have ideas and it means that I can go to, and also Ben Smith, who
Yeah.
is lead singer of Negatives, but he's an amazing videographer, which means that my very close group, I can go to them and be like, I've got an idea, bear with. And then I can like make my costume, cover blood, like pull out like a fire prop, and they'll shoot it beautifully. It's not lost on me how incredibly lucky I am to be surrounded by really amazing like creatives of all kinds. They're just, without them capturing the vibes and the gigs, I wouldn't be able to show people it like in such an effective way. So really appreciative.
The content that goes out, the videos, even the promo videos are just lovely. They're just oh my god, like some of the shots. I mean, there was one that was, I think it was for Cult. You did, was it Cult, where you had the on the beach and you were in badass goddess mode and there was fire and oh hey, just even that alone is its own little work of art. Never mind the whole festival, the productions are put on, just the little bits that you tease. All of us that maybe don't make it out do get that extra artwork from you, and that is just fab.
I like to have like a storyline to each thing, so I direct the shoots. Sometimes if it can be quite hard getting a lot of models in one room, so that's why like it's me with the mask on, because I know what I want and I'm working it's like with other creatives and we can bounce ideas off each other and just smash out the artwork. But that was so important to me, that cult shoot, because everyone in that picture, they're my best friends and my twin sister. So that was really, really nice to like to have that. And it's like it was a beautiful day, really healing. There's a little bit of background information. You know where we're putting things in the fire?
Yes.
At the beginning of the video, I had all the girls write intentions and things that they wanted to release, things that we wanted to work on. I felt like we're always going through something. So it's like that was put into it as well, where just a crew of people just healing together. So that's kind of what that was based around. And each color that I pick, everything that I've put into these like shoots, it's all purposeful, everything. So I really enjoy it when other people are seeing it, because there's a storyline to every single one. There's a purpose to everything. Same with the Gorelesque. Like so much thought goes into it that I'm so glad it's paying off. That's all I really want, is people to witness the art and see it.
But that's it. You're tying in art, and you're tying in the performance, and you're tying in other areas of performance. And I think that is rare. And I think that's one of the things that I like so much about it, being from an art background myself. I did photography for a very long time. I was a live music photographer, which everybody who listens is probably sick of me saying, oh, it was mad. It was just madness. But this one, it's got, this year's got a pink, well, this festival has a thick pink theme, which I particularly love. It's so subversive and so different. And I just love what you've done with it. If you get a chance to have a look on the Venom Fest Instagram, you will see the detail and the just the pure artwork that's gone into it. It is absolutely fantastic. I will put the links below, so I do want people to go and have a look. Tell me a little bit about this pink theme.
I made it from scratch, that.
No way!
The pink theme, okay, I love it. Oh, I made it all from scratch, yeah. So the initial Venom Fest, obviously it was Crypt Fest before. I'd named it off of like another project that I'd had, then left, and I felt like after two really good gigs that I did with Crypt Fest, the second one sold out. I think that was because LN headlined. But after that, I had more of an idea of what I wanted from it. So I called it Venom Fest. It's all based off of like the poison venom vibes that I've always gone from. So I needed a new look. So I went for the boiler suit and the mask, because I love industrial vibes. And now I'm like, I've made a new mask for every single Venom Fest, and I've kept them, make them by hand. I've So for this one, with it being pink, I wanted it to be, obviously, not only is it the Valentine's Day one, I wanted to really lean into like the girly pop femininity vibe that I've been really enjoying, like that side of me. Obviously, I normally just wear like black and green and goth stuff, but I absolutely love like pink stuff. And I also wanted it to be sort of like a clear flag to people that this is a bit of a girly area. I'd never want to exclude men, and
No.
the men love it. I did worry at first, but I was like, oh, I'm doing it all pink. I hope I don't exclude any consistent audience that I have. The men all love it. They all want their own pink boiler suits. But I thought it was also a way to kind of show other women, LGBT, AFAB, whoever they may be, like see that this is a girl club too. It's for all of us, the Girls Gays Days, and it is welcoming, inclusive, accessible. And I felt like doing the glaring pink might hit that statement. Also, a lot of gigs can be quite boys' club.
Yeah.
And I felt like by throwing in the pink and making it disgustingly girly, like where there's blood splatter, I filled the blood splatter with diamantes.
Oh my God.
Because I just wanted, yeah, it's like show girly. So the Venom on the back that I had on the original black suit, I've done the same thing on the pink suit, but it's all diamanted. The mask, the same mask as before, but it's a new one that's pink. With blood splatter that's covered in diamantes. I just love glam and gore together. I just think it's like such a vibe, like glam, gore, metal. I think it's just
beautiful,
good all around. But I've really enjoyed like leaning into that girly side and being like, do you know what? I can do what I want, and I want to be girly this time.
I love it.
It's been fun.
I love it. I love it. See, I come from an era where it was incredibly uncool for my generation, like not you know, if I was wearing a pink t-shirt, someone would go, what the hell are you wearing? Why are you wearing that? And it was very kind of, oh, you're not a goth anymore because you've dared to go and do that. And there's this whole stigma which just shattered completely. And I was like, I love this. This is just, yes. And particularly with the whole Barbie thing that just happened recently, I think it almost kind of breaks that as well, because pink can be such a, you know, it can be such a genre crossing color, like you've said. And rightly point, the metal industry is very male dominated. Back when I was working in it, it was completely all men. I was one of very few women that would be in, you know, around or in a backstage area or anything like that. Very much so. So to bring that femininity into it, to make it so subversive, and to then have just this amazing costume, it's just fab. I love it.
I love it.
I love
it. My favorite yet.
I love it.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to cross was that line. I found that when I first started going to gigs, obviously what you've said there, like I would be one of maybe 2 or 3 women in like the whole room, and then like I've got this bigger group. My group is so mixed, but I do enjoy seeing more women at gigs. There was a point where I was terrified of gigs. I think a lot of people didn't really start to learn that they are safe places for us to be. And especially the local gig community as well. And when I started coming to gigs, I was like, this is cool. I love this. And more people need to know about this. And it's starting to work. So at Venom Fests, the amount of women in the audience is staggering. Like, and I just love it. And I'm just seeing more like LGBT, because obviously I am a queer woman as well. And I just want people to just know that, like, hey, this is for us too. When I did Bipeden, it was almost half of the audience were women. Yes. And I was like, yeah, it just felt so inclusive, and it's just such good vibes. So that's like a bit of the pink as well. It just kind of just symbols for me a lot of things that I'm just kind of hoping is crossing the boundaries of social media, and people are like seeing it and feel invited. I didn't want it to be too girly.
No,
but I wanted it to be really girly.
Subversive. subversive. It was so yes. I mean, it's getting noticed. I see it. I see it there. You know, I've been watching, I've been sitting there going, I like this. And if I'm looking,
Yeah.
then other people are looking, and then hopefully people will more and more. I mean, we don't want to get. I mean, Anarchy Brewery is massive, so I think you're good for a venue for quite a while. I think.
I love them. I love them. But yeah, they like any of the vibes I'm putting down. Also, as well on the costume, just to say, pairing girly with that scary masculine vibes of the boiler suit and the mask is definitely was all done purposefully. I think that there's like aggression and femininity. I think is just like such a vibe. So like almost violence sort of thing, which is obviously Venom sort of like. Those are all the vibes I was trying to get with it. There's a lot that I've put into it. So I'm glad it's getting picked up. Thank you.
It honestly, it's brilliant. I love it. I love everything behind it, and it's something that my brain goes down a little rabbit hole with when I see your stuff. I usually watch a reel 2 or 3 times to be like picking bits out and be like, this is just so cool.
With an Easter egg.
There's definitely stuff there. I can little stuff for me to pick at. People like, you know, like that kind of thing, that depth. And I think when you are a content creator, if you have to be a promoter, you have to be in the music industry. And I say this every podcast, you almost have to be a content creator now. There's no way of getting around it. You have to be doing reels, and you have to be doing clips, and you have to be doing, which is something I'm learning, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just all there. One thing that I did notice when I was stalking this, and I'm sorry to cut you off there because I was rude.
Oh no.
You put out a post a little while ago before this one was fully announced, this Venom Fest, and you said that you were prioritizing, you were looking for artists, but you were prioritizing Northeast artists. I think this is brilliant. I think it's so good that you do that. Is that obviously the passion shines through when I'm talking to you? Is this something that you feel is deeply, deeply important? Because do you think this is what your platform is for, to try and keep that local side going as well and build that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got no interest in becoming the next big festival and pulling in massive acts from everywhere. Newcastle is massively overlooked, and there is insane amount of talent here. Like, this is art of all kinds, and it's just not celebrated enough. There's a lot more opportunities further down south and further up north, but the northeast we're really neglected. Like we'll see with bigger touring bands, they always skip Newcastle. There will be there's just not enough here, and we need to be celebrated. So Venom Fest is about putting local, like showcasing local artists of all kinds. So they do come first, and I do prioritize. I do also still take in bands and performers from other areas because they too may not get this sort of opportunity there. I've had bands from down south like Gutlocker. I've had I have performers from further afield. I have others that I'll be taking on that are from further afield for other projects and other Venom Fests. But I do feel the need to prioritize the local community, because this is why I'm doing it, really. Just it's such an opportunity for us to mingle together and to look at each other's art and like clap each other on. There's nothing that I love more than seeing artists by the stage when there's another performer on stage and just cheering them on. Like, it's a community, not competition.
Yes.
And I just do think that supporting locals, the local community, is better. And also with Venom Fest, it creates content for them. If a performer wants to craft a performance that they can't just take anywhere, then they can do it on my stage. I make sure it's shot properly. I always have a photographer and a videographer, at least one of each. So I have extra as well, to make sure that along with their fee, they also get content so that they can promote themselves to other people. I want everyone to succeed. We all go together. We all pull each other up and big each other up. So that's why I prioritize Northeast. But it doesn't mean that I'll shut people out who are not Northeast either.
Because then this is what you've mentioned it. There is that gap, and this was something I said to Abaddon in the last podcast, is that we get missed. And if those bands are not on, or they are not able to come and play with us because they are missed, you give them the opportunity then as well. But I love the fact that you do prioritize the Northeast, because like you said, that's what it's about. We have that gap. This is why I started this, both for Sunderland and Newcastle for like Hartlepool stuff. I cut my teeth dealing with bands in little pubs and clubs all over the Northeast. Some of them have gone on to be really, really successful. Some of them were, have disappeared but have gone on with other projects. It's, we've got like the Future Heads who now, in Sunderland are now coming back out, different genre, but there's that whole section there in Sunderland that is completely overlooked as well. And it's like, why are we doing this? We have some of the finest, bands and musicians that have come heritage wise as well. And it's just what you do.
Yeah, I hate seeing people overlooked like that. So I think a lot of people don't know where to start as well when looking at local bands and stuff. So with Venom, a lot of the audience don't actually know about the local music, and they'll come for the gore or the vibes, and it's just a bit of like a tasting platter. And then once they see those bands, they start to listen to their music, they'll go to their gigs, they'll see another band, and it just has a knock-on effect. I see people at smaller gigs now. I'll go to random gigs consistently. As often as I can get to a gig, I'll be there. Anywhere in Newcastle that I can get to, and I'll see people, and it's like it's improving and there's more people coming along. And I just think you should be looking out for local music. Like, most of my favorite bands that I listen to on the daily are local bands. Their music's sick. It's really good.
There's some amazing stuff, even up and coming. There's some amazing stuff, and there's some amazing bands that have been around. One of them that I saw, I think they supported Scarlet Riot with Ellen, was Verstellen, and they're really different as well. They're more sort of the softer side of things, but really impressive and really different again. And that some of the bands that I would have listened to when I was younger, that kind of music went away, and now it's starting to come back. As I mentioned with Drenched,
resurgence.
There's a resurgence of this really cool kind of, new metal vibe, and then the heavier stuff with the breakdowns in it. And it's like, oh, this is
I love it.
Quite exciting.
I love it.
Quite
my favorite thing to especially to experience live music as well. Like, even if I feel like some people shy away from going to local gigs because they're like, I won't know all the tunes. If I don't know like the band, the songs, but like they're hitting you with like mint riffs and like dirty breakdowns, you're like, mad. Like, it's just so enjoyable. I think once you go to one and you go that it expands, and I'm hoping that that's kind of what Venom Fest does, and inspires and creates a bit more of the community, because the community's there, but it's kind of fractured.
Yes, hugely.
So I think we should be visiting each other's stuff and dipping our toes in and stuff like that.
Community, not competition. You keep saying it, community, not competition. That is exactly what it is. Absolutely.
Live by it. Yeah.
I mean, you're a performer yourself. I want to come back to something. I'll come back to something in a minute, because you're not only just a promoter or putting festivals on. You're a performer yourself, as you've mentioned. Did that come first? And why? I mean, I've seen you perform. It's insane. Why would you do that? Did it come first, or why?
So this is the timeline. So I kind of like hit a fuck it point of my life. I feel like I don't know how else to put it. If you've ever
I
seen,
did too. It's all right.
I get it. Like, if you've ever seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Frank's like, I'm going to get real weird with it, and he's like, I don't know how many years I've got left, so I'm going to get real weird with it. That's kind of what happened. My life did not start properly until I was 25. I'd come from quite a bad place. I'd suffered through some really bad domestic violence, and it was just a point where like I'd escaped it, and everything was like, oh, what do we do now? And after like going through healing and like starting to focus on me, I was like, I want to do some cool weird stuff. I want to get weird with it. So I started off leaning more into modeling and kind of putting together vibes and concepts for shoots that I wanted to do and express myself through, and kind of help my confidence a little bit. Towards the end of lockdown, Tony Zero Fire taught me to fire eat. I went over for like a little private lesson to fire eat. I didn't think I was going to go anywhere with it. Kept practicing, got really into it, started doing fire gigs, but I was like a mess. I was like so scared of it. And then my first ever Gorelesque performance came from a music video. I did a music video for Decrepit Monolith.
Yes.
I've been in 10 music videos now. I've got 9, I think. I've got one coming out in a few weeks. But my very first one was for Decrepit Monolith, and they wanted to do a show in Anarchy Brewery 2022.
Yep.
And they were like, "Can you perform along to the song that you're in?" And I was like, "Okay, I can only do fire." And they were like, "No fire allowed inside because it's a brewery and everything's really, really like
flammable."
Yeah, really flammable. So I was like, right, I've always wanted to do the Gorelesque. It's something that's been in my head since I was a kid, which I was like, that would be cool. Okay. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it. It was terrifying. There wasn't a stage like I've got for Venom Fest. I had to basically like push through a mosh pit.
No.
I had a cauldron in my hands. There was like blood, a heart. I had like a cape on, and I was like, you know, like the witch from Snow White. So I was like that, kind of like going through, and people were like, "What the hell?" I wasn't announced. I didn't know what was going on, but I just started wiping blood on everyone, eating a heart, and then
I love it.
So that's like the timeline of it, and then I've just got weirder and more emboldened to be weird over time. It's getting out of hand. Someone needs to stop me.
No, nobody stop it. Just let it go. I want to see where it goes and how far this can go. This is why I don't think I should ever be allowed near this, because I feel like there's no barrier in my brain that would just get very weird very quick, in my opinion. If I was, I mean,
so what's happening?
But it's fine.
It's just getting really weird.
You are an incredible performer. I mean, even just seeing you when I was Zira's fire eating, and you were just blowing fire like it was nothing, literally vapor trails. So for obviously, if you're watching it on YouTube, obviously you can see the video, but if you just listen on the audio, you won't know what it is. But literally, I watched her eat fire, basically relight fire from her mouth by blowing it out, and then relight a stick. And I was like, "What's that? What? How?"
I've got videos of it on my Instagram, like the little vapor tricks. I enjoy that. I feel like I can fixate on those things. The cat's here. Gus is joining us. Hi.
Welcome, Gus, gorgeous boy. Hey.
I do really enjoy performing. Do you know what? I found that it was a really good way to work through some emotions and feelings and stuff. I feel like it was such a good way for me to reclaim confidence and things that I felt that I would never have. Obviously, as I've mentioned, coming from like domestic violence and being like quite scared, and it was a way to show and dig through my femininity and rage and make it something beautiful. And each gig that I've ever done, I'm working through something on stage and there's like a storyline. It looks cool and that's all people need to know. But for me, I'm like healing myself each time and stuff. And I really enjoy making art that comes from a place.
Yes.
So like that's kind of just the reason that I'm performing. Like I said, I just got weird with it.
I love it. And I actually
artistic things.
I think it's from your heart, it's from your soul, and I think that shows. I think that's the beauty of it. And so if it's weird, get weird with it. This is a conversation.
I'm getting away with it.
Yeah, well, this is it. You know, some of the best artists and some of the best stuff I've ever seen in my life has been from people who are not afraid to be weird. Conversation I had with a friend of mine who was a little bit hesitant on some of their work, and I was like, just do it. You know, it doesn't matter what people think. The right people are like it. You cannot push away those who are meant for you. You know, if you it is one of those things that if somebody likes that kind of artwork, they're going to appreciate it. And some of the greatest arts in the world, Francis Bacon, you look at paintings, the ones that are the more grotesque and weird, the ones that have the more depth. Bacon. Yeah, exactly. It's
that's the thing. Vivienne Westwood, she was laughed off stage. But she's an icon and she stuck with it. Same with like Lady Gaga, almost bullied out of it, but you've got to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
And I think there were times where I felt like, God, like, and there's still times now where I'm like, God, I have to be such a weirdo all the time. But I'm quite lucky because my friends clap so loud that you just don't notice who doesn't. I've seen
Fantastic.
times like at times I'm like, you can see someone's like, and I'm like, it's all right, it's not for you. It shouldn't be for everyone, and that's okay. Because like that's just not how things work.
It's not.
But I know that it'll speak to someone, and that's like all that really matters, or it might embolden someone. Because me back at my worst days, if I'd have seen what I was doing now, it would have like inspired me. And I think, and that's who I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for teenage me that would think that I'm cool as hell, and versions of me that wouldn't have been able to speak to a person without like a stress eye twitch or like stammering through from anxiety, to talking to over 300 people at my own day fest. Like, it's like, we're doing it sort of thing. So I've got to
I
do it, got to cheer yourself on.
You got to, and I think this is really something I need to hear as well. I think this is, obviously, I think you're very brave to come out and say, about domestic violence. I think that is so hard to talk about. And I noticed, obviously, there's something you had been quite vocal about on social media. I think if I don't say to you now how proud I am to see somebody talking about it, to be able to come out and be brave enough to say. So honestly, all credit to you. It's not an easy thing to admit.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I have had not the best relationships in the past either. And that is really hard sometimes to kind of come out and say that, and say, you to other women, you're not alone. If you are in that situation, you are not alone. I will leave
Mm-hmm.
some links at the bottom as well of where you can get support.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big advocate of this myself. I think people need to not be frightened, and you need to not be embarrassed or shy. It is a scarily large figure.
We've
Yeah.
got to open up the conversation about it. It took me years. I was in absolute denial, I think. I actually thought what happened to me was, it spanned years. It spanned absolute years, and it wasn't from just one person either.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, you get in your own head, you think that you deserve it, that you could drive anyone to it. And I think people need to be really vocal about this. Runs rampant through our society. So many women die all the time from partners. There's other forms of abuse that people don't talk about, like financial coercion and things like that. And I really didn't see a way out, and there was points where I was like, "This is just it. This is just my lot in life." And taking the leap of faith, I was kind of, I was lucky. I had a best friend at the time who refused to let me become totally isolated. And the police put forward. I ended up actually having to get a restraining order against the person. And even afterwards, I was like, God, did I like big it up? Was like, and you blame yourself.
Yes.
And it took me years, even though I had mountains of proof and evidence of like huge bruises from being knocked unconscious, scars on my arms, all sorts. But it's the mental abuse that stays for longer as
Yes.
well. So also, just because people aren't suffering from violence doesn't mean that they're not being abused either. But I think to kind of be like, hey, I've been through that and things do get better, I think it's really important. I think people need to know that there is something on the other side, even though it's absolutely terrifying. I had to start again with nothing, and I was so scared. And but I had my family and I had my friends who had my back, and that's all that I needed. And it was, so even though it took a few years for me to kind of work through it, after about a year or two of leaving the situation, I was like, oh my God, what happened? And I had
Yes.
to process it. And now I feel almost fully healed. Healing isn't linear as well. I think that's really important to say. There's good days and bad days. It doesn't mean that you're not moving forward. And if you do slip, that's all right. You've got to be your best friend. You've got to be your own advocate. And you've got to talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. And I
Yes.
just want to make sure that sometimes when I'm talking about these things, I'm like, am I oversharing? But I'm like, that's fine. That's fine with me. But if it goes to one person, he, they, she, anyone, and they hear that and it just makes them feel even a little bit better, that's all I want. I just want people to know that there's something else coming, good days coming.
Safe space. And I think as somebody in your position who is a public figure, to be able to come out and say that, and somebody who is known and seen out in society, and you are very lovely and approachable, to be able to come forward and say that. And like you say, even if one person goes, actually, I am in that situation and that's it, I think I can do it. If somebody else can get out of it and make something of themselves and bring their art and their best life from it, and then why can't I? So don't ever be alone. It's a dark subject, but I am like I said, a full advocate of it. I think you are incredibly brave to talk about it. Thank you, Thorn. It means an awful lot. Don't put yourself through it. If you are in that situation, speak out, because I think you don't, and if you're in it, you don't. And
speak to someone. Yeah. Speak to someone. It's terrifying. It takes many a time as well. Advocate, look after yourself as well. Like, go to someone who's trusted. If anyone needs someone to talk to and they just want to talk to me, I would say, like, you can speak to me. I don't know enough to really pull someone through it, but I would know enough to help find a resource. Harbour in Hartlepool, and then when I moved over to live in Bishop Auckland as well, Harbour were fantastic support to me. So they're a good one to reach out. And I do often post on my story about other places that are more local to, like Gateshead and Newcastle,
yes.
To help as well. I just think there's always help. There's no matter how, like, oh my god, like, there is no way out. There is. It's just, it might be a bit scary.
You just got to fight through it, and then on the other side, there's something worth fighting for, always. Yeah. I will leave links at the bottom, and like I said, it is a darker subject, but don't be frightened to talk about it, and the links will be there. You are, like, obviously you're performing for yourself, you are healing through it, you're advocating, and that is again important. Most art is born from stuff like that. When you speak to any artist, you speak to anybody, there's generally a story there to be told, which they're trying to tell through what they do. You are also, like you said, you've been in music videos, but what you've not said is you direct music videos as well, because you're a woman of all talents. And you directed, and I did write it down and then I lost it, Capitalise for Manners.
I did. Yes. I did, yeah. That was wild. That was wild.
How does one go from being in music videos and being a model, which I'm just going to point out, this lovely lady model for Cyberhead, Cyberhead's an album. Yeah, Cyberdog.
Yeah.
I wrote Cyberhead down. I'll tell you why in a bit. Cyberdog. Honestly, I nearly papped because I was actually looking on their website when it came up and I thought it's Thorn.
So I was buzzing to get that. I actually ran a modelling agency, and they emailed my modelling agency asking for me, and I was like, yeah,
oh my god.
Like, if I'd have told like 15-year-old me that, like, I was like really professional. I was like, yes, absolutely, time, date, and then I had to scream. I was like, this is brilliant. And the same with every single music video. Like, I'm just like, this is just exactly what I always wanted. So with Manners, luckily I just know the band as well. So LN, the lead singer, who's also the lead singer of LN, I've done a music video with LN before, and so I'm best friends with her. Also Drew, who is the bassist. I'm friends with all of them, but particularly those two are really, really close friends of mine. Drew has supported my Gorelesque endeavours from the very beginning, and we've performed together, and he's been my cheerleader. So to be able to work all of us together on a creative endeavour was really, really good. I was asked by their manager to do a video with them, so it was a collaboration between Manners and Venom, because they were headlining a gig that I had coming up. So I did actually have different plans for the storyline, but as you'll know, every creative project you hit bumps in the road, and we just wanted a way where we could show their music and their vibes mixed with Venom's vibes. So I brought over some of my performers, and we making the set was fun. One of my best mates was actually the videographer for there. We had two photographers doing the behind the scenes, which was Ben Smith and Sam Wingrove.
Yeah.
It was just such a fun day, where, like, the set that we made was really fun. It was middle of summer though, so it was boiling. And I was just like, I had like a Windex bottle filled with blood, so I'm just like squirting them with blood off camera. I had a lot of fun thinking up of the vibes. I was heavily inspired by Suspiria. I don't know if you've ever seen that film.
I've seen Suspiria, yes, I love it. I love it. It's so tacky.
So like, it's brilliant. So like the color schemes in that I thought was great. And if you've seen, obviously you're at that Manners gig, you know that light is really important to them. They've got those amazing stage lights.
Yes.
Each song they kind of like have different lighting setups and vibes. Cat's awake. So I wanted to really play with that, and then Suspiria vibes as well. And so that's why I did the blue with the red. So the blue lighting with the stark contrast of the red blood.
Yes.
Just like in Suspiria, when someone dies, it's blue lighting with the blood, and I just thought so cool.
Yes.
So those were the vibes that I wanted to do. So it was really fun. I really enjoyed like directing it. But then I had to perform in it as well. That was really difficult, going from this, like kind of directing, being involved, to oh my god, I need to perform now. Like it was that was difficult.
Switch.
Oh yeah, like all of a sudden I was like, okay, I've got the wrong head on, sort of thing. Like I need to channel the performer now. But I do enjoy directing shoots, and there's some more in the works as well. I'd like to continue doing, because like I said, I've been in like 9 music videos now, and there's a few other bands that I'm talking with where we're going to do more crossovers, where I can bring my performers. I've got like links with videographers and photographers, and I've got like ideas and vibes and stuff where we can like work together. And so there's more of that. Was definitely going to happen. I just love the crossing of platforms and working with each other.
Yes,
something that I really enjoyed that. But yeah, working with Manners was wicked. And then it was kind of like a two-parter. So we did the music video, and then they headlined for Venom, and we did a stage performance. Me and FL Mads covered everyone in Fake Blood.
Yes,
out of guns. It was brilliant. It was really fun.
I love it, and I love the fact, obviously I've had Ellen on this, and we spoke briefly about Manners. Obviously we spoke in depth about Ellen, and she's amazing. She's just amazing. And that video, that video that you did, and the whole, if you get a chance to watch it, you really have to. It's just so it has such a cool vibe. And now you've mentioned the Suspiria thing, now I know why I can see it, but I didn't pick up on it. I should have.
I'm really into colour, so that was kind of what I wanted to do. So that's why I was sending over screenshots of that. But when we did the LN music video for Mothers, I didn't direct that or anything. That was all LN's ideas. That was another one of those healing women together days. All of the bruises that were put on, all symbols of things that we'd all been through. So there was a bit of a intense day. That one. And then you see where we're screaming at the end. We were screaming. Like, I don't know how the police didn't turn up. We were in Topwell Forest, and we were like ugly screaming, like tears coming out. And afterwards it was like, I went home and cried. It was absolutely like, but we all did. It was just like, that was so healing. It was really great. But the bruises that I painted on were bruises that I'd actually had in real life. And each of us, everything that we had, each bruise meant something. And we talked about it on the day as well. And it was brilliant. And Ellen's songwriting, like that song still makes me cry. Like,
yes,
because it is she's just one, she can tell such a beautiful story through those LN lyrics, and she really does bring forward and shines a light on persecution that women have faced, and like through the eras. And so it was all around so amazing. If you'd told me a few years ago that would be in an LN video, I would have screamed. Like, amazing. Even better to be with a group of best friends, all working through something. It's just all the same thing. We're like healing through art. I think it's great.
it is a community. This is something I had noticed, that there seems to be more of a like an arty base now. It's not the, you know, like we said before, fragmented back when I was a lot on the music metal scene, you know, very fragmented. There is this more art community, and there are the, like, you are, what you have done is cross those lines in such a way it all works. And having those stalls and the traders and having stuff like that as well, where people can bring their own artworks, because I tend to find people who are in this sort of genre tend to be more arty. I think we are generally more creative persona, very into everything. If you take one of my guests I had on, Mercury from Priest, he's just creative in all sorts of ways. He just loves creating, be it video. He directs some of his own videos. He does, you know, always involved in something. And
they've got such a cool vibe as well, Priest, that like neon, like layered on top of metal. But when I saw them live, like I was like screaming, like the LEDs. I was like, the vibes are here. I absolutely love that. But it is that artistic, like creative vibes, and it is just it works so well.
Costumes, the masks, the lighting, the whole sound, the difference, because obviously it's so easy to, you know, try and fit into one genre, the sort of cross genre. I mean, I'm really biased because I love them dearly, and I was lucky enough to go to Sweden and hang with them and go to their album launch party for Dark Pulse.
So cool.
Oh, so honestly,
cool. What a vibe.
But it was unreal. And that was in a brewery. That was the funny thing. That was actually in a brewery in Linköping. So very much the same. It had the sort of similar sort of vibe as to Anarchy Brewery as well. So, honestly, we will definitely talk more on that subject.
Yes.
But it's so nice that somebody else can appreciate them, because quite a lot of the time, again, in the UK, you mention them, loads of people won't necessarily, they're starting to hear about them, they're starting to gain some traction. And, you know, that fits in with the whole cross genre thing. You know, there is a bit of performance there with that as well. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. And some of their videos rely on light, like you do when you're directing. It's all light and colours and different shapes. They have Claudio Moreno, the director, directs some of theirs as well. Some of his work's very similar, has the two-tone colours and the lights involved. So
love it.
All one big artwork community, not just in the UK, but across the board. And I think that is massive.
Amazing.
I'm so excited you've seen them too. I'm like a big child now.
I love that we were at the same gig. To be fair, I feel like we just always are. I'm probably, to be fair, if you go to any gig in Newcastle, I'm in the room somewhere.
I'm gonna find you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always at the front going, like every single time, like screaming.
I'm shy, and I am actually disabled, so generally what you'll find is me propped up at the bar somewhere with a drink, quite quiet, having a watch of everything, and somebody come and talk to us, and I'll go, hi, and then disappear because I'm I'm terrified.
I'm panicking, but that's why I stand at the front, because I'm like looking at the band and I can't see anyone like to either side. I'm like, I'll be like in the pit with a friend.
Well, was the LN gig where I did the pit, and I turned around to you, and then I walked away, and I just kicked myself all night, because we were talking about fire eating, and I'd said to you, you'd gone, oh, it was really cool to meet you and all that, and then you picked it up really well. I went, yeah, there's something wrong with us. You are a professional fire eater, and I've just turned around to this most amazing fire performer and gone, there's something wrong with us for liking eating it. And
I think there's something wrong with anyone who's going to put like fire in their mouth. I think all of us have got something. If there's a screw loose, it's terrifying, I think, to see. But I mean, the first time I ate fire, I almost backed out. Like, so to see you do it was just brilliant, because it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. It's really scary, because everything in your body's like, don't put that on your mouth. Like, that's absolutely not, like, to put fire in your mouth. Like, why would you do that? Like, it's terrifying. So I think it is something so bold, and to like cross that line in your head is it's just really, really cool that you could do it.
Oh, thank you. That means so much. It was scary. Although I was so nervous. I think I got so nervous, I just sort of almost blanked out. It just went in, and all I remember is hearing Zero shout, open your eyes, and I was like, I can't, because there's fire in my face. And then I don't think I ate it on the first try. I think it went in and it sort of didn't go out, and I had to take it back out again. And I was like, I remember standing in the room going, that feels weird. because it's so bizarre. It's not a sensation you would expect either. It's more like a hot cup of tea. I mean, I'm sure if I'd have held it in there longer, I'd have known about it. But it's the most
even
bizarre.
then, as long as you follow the steps. But because it's like a 4-step thing, like once you're like the fire's on my tongue, it's like you forget everything. So it's really difficult to do. It is insanely difficult to do. But Zira is such an amazing teacher. Like she started off my she trained me. She started off my my love for it all. She trained me on fans and everything like that. So it's just, and she's someone that I've always gone to if I needed help. And she definitely does that community, not competition, where I can go to her and be like, hi, I need a little bit of help on this, or what do you do? Because there's a lot of things that you don't know, and if she doesn't know, she'll point you in the right direction. Like, it's just good vibes all around. She was fantastic.
As you were. So Thorn was sat next to me and I was panicking because if you ever fire eat, one of my big fears was I was just going to inhale it. And I was like, I'm going to inhale this. And she's like, you breathe in as much as you possibly can, and you just can't take any more air in. So every time now I fire eat in the garden, I've got Thorn's voice in my head going, breathe in until you can't breathe in anymore, because I'm just terrified. I am going to just inhale it. Well, I'm going to forget what I'm doing one day because I'm a real ditz, and I'm just going to be like, oh, I just really edit this time, big time.
Yeah, it took me months to be able to get the series down, like because there's obviously it's the breathe in, then you put it on your tongue, and then there's like the motion that you've got to follow, like the correct steps. But brain's like fire in mouth, like sort of thing. So it's terrifying. But I'm used to it now, but only after a few years. But it took me months, and even after months, I was like, I hate this, but I want to do it right.
Why am I doing it? But I'm continuing on anyway.
The big deep breath is the good bit. Look, I remember looking at you going,
yeah, you were egging us on. Breathe in. As an asthmatic, it's probably not a route I want to go down, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. One of the things I do want to ask you, obviously I do this for Nerdy Up North, but also I'm a massive nerd. If you listen to any of my other podcasts, you'll know I'm a massive Star Trek fan. Like, it's ridiculous, it's stupid. I go to conventions, cool. I wear the costumes, I sing Star Trek, and with all we've done circle pits with Klingons running around dressed as Klingons shouting Klingons.
Vibe.
So funny.
I love that.
What are your nerdy passions? What drives you? Because you're so art-based, and you mentioned Suspiria, so I'm going to hazard a guess there's some horror films in there somewhere.
Yes.
What makes you? What are your passions?
So I like, yes, but you're perfectly right there. Especially films like Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Like, you see the color palette that he uses and the vibes that he uses. Massive influence to me. Any sort of horror film that's beautifully shot.
Yes.
That seems to be something I'm really nerdy about. I also like the, like late 90s, early 2000s films that were like new metal driven, like Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
Vibe. Like, that is. God. I watched that one day at the age of like 16. I was like, this is me now. This is me now. That and Blade, and I was like, this is it. Yes. And Guillermo del Toro, everything that he's done, his color palettes, the use of like, it's always quite sexy as well. Like there's always like those really cool vibes. So I think that sort of horror, color, themes, sexiness, all of that is like really, really inspiring. Just what else? I like. Do you know what? I like Coraline and stuff like that. Stuff that's kind of cute but kind of spooky.
Yes.
So I'm kind of nerdy about stuff like that. I like a lot of Tim Burton films. Like,
I love Tim Burton.
Yeah, Corpse Bride, I think, is probably my favourite as well. I like that one. I watched The Wolfman recently. The Benicio del Toro one.
Yes.
Vibe. Really,
I love that film.
And the costumes. That's another like nerdy thing for me, where I like just obsess over the costumes of cool films, and then I'll look into the costume designers, and then have to look at the costumes afterwards. Nosferatu, amazing. Each shot is a piece of art. It's stunning.
Do I need to go watch it? I've been nervous. Okay,
it's so good. I'm gonna go and watch it again. I'll never go back to a cinema after seeing something, but I'm like, I need to watch it again.
Okay.
Like, it's just beautiful. But that's the sort of stuff that I like. I like art with deep meaning as well. I like also one driving force of a lot of my my art and vibes and composition is quite like old art. I like academic art, like classic art as well.
Yes.
So yeah, so like Caravaggio, like his sort of vibes as well. I love a little bit of a Botticelli as well.
Yep. Titian. Yep.
Yeah. Like I'm big into my art and my books and stuff like that. I started out doing art at university, so I think a lot of vibes that I do, I'm looking back at a piece of art and then back again, and some of the performances that I've done have been based off pieces of art and stuff as well. So I think
I'm starting to see it now. This is it, because I love. I mean, I was art. I started out in art, and then I went into sort of photography, but still did like classical art on the side and classical painting. And sometimes just to sit in an art gallery and look at some of these paintings and realize how horrific some of them can actually be, and how like graphic and just, you know,
what they mean and where they come from.
Yeah.
Everything's purposeful. That's what I like. Every color that's picked out, because there was like back in the day, people weren't really communicating through text and calls. They would send a painting from one country to another to show that like Queen Elizabeth was ready to get married, and they would show that through the color that she's wearing, the pants behind her, and I just love that. I love that vibe. And but yeah, sitting in a gallery, looking at art, just amazing. Best way to spend my time.
Love it.
Art and music. It's all like all I really do is art and music. It's just fused to me.
You do. You absolutely do. I know I can see it. And now you've blown my mind. I am literally like, yes, I can see it all. And it's the truth. I think if you watch a lot of, if you do watch the horror films and you watch them in a visual manner, I'm a very visual person, you start to see the art reflected in them. A lot of them have like art, especially some of the old hammer horrors, the way that they're filmed, the way that they're shot. I'm going to have to go and watch Nosferatu now. That's
Heretic as well. Heretic.
I've never seen it.
It's brilliant. The colours in that and the way that the shots are set up at certain parts as well. You're like, I can see Renaissance art in this. Like, just stunning. I absolutely love it. Like every 2 minutes I was like spooky and good, and a bit gory and a bit like raged at times, but iconic. I love a lot of like religious based art as well. I also love, do you know what? I love a bit of architecture. Anything gothic architecture, favourite. Especially European Gothic.
Yes.
Love it.
I was stood, this is really embarrassing. I actually mentioned this in my priest podcast, and I'm sorry, I'll have to stop mentioning them, but I was stood outside of a bar at 3 a.m. in the morning in the shopping city centre, in the town centre, underneath the cathedral, and I was like, oh my God, look at that. No. And everyone was like, oh, what are you on about? And I'm like, it's this most beautiful like cathedral with just the most stunning architecture. And I was like, oh my word, like
I do everyone's head in. If I go back past any form of architecture like that that's Gothic, I'll have to tell anyone who's around me whether it's classic art, like classic Gothic, or European Gothic, because there's a difference between classical like shapes of the windows and then like European Gothic, and you can tell by how wide and tall the windows are. So I'll have to sit there and go on a whole spiel about it. No matter how many times I've told them, I'll tell them again. I'm like, classic Gothic. See that? That's classic. Not true Gothic. Classic. There's politics behind it, all sorts.
Nope.
And I'll have to deep dive into it. And I don't think anyone cares.
I care.
I'll start telling about like Pugin and stuff like that. And I'm like, there's this dude, right? Everyone's like, right.
She's off again. That's what this is it. This is the whole, yes, it's the art. I'm
like, look at the windows. Do you see how they're thin and tall? Or like, I'll be like, do you see that? Do you see the engraving? Oh, no, too much. Too much.
Oh my God, this is the best nerd. Honestly, I love it. And I am so pleased we've had this conversation because now I don't feel so bad next time I see a piece of architecture. I'm like, I can embrace it and it's not just me.
Send me a voice note. Tell me what it looks like. Take
Look at
pictures.
this.
I want to run down.
Look at this. Look at it. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm actually shocked that how similar sort of things you've come out with to me because I'm very, like I say, very visual, very thing. My favorite one of my, I've said this in another podcast as well. Everyone will be sick of me repeating myself. One of my favorite directors is Ben Wheatley. I don't know if you've seen High Rise. That's all very colours.
Oh, I'll have to add that to the list.
So High Rise is muted colours. Everything is done very grey. Okay, on purpose. It's very it's about dystopian. It's a dystopian film, so it's not necessarily horror, but it's all very muted, and it's about psychologically the effects society can have on people and how people, if they're left to their own devices, will either how they will deteriorate into either clans or it's very. But it's
I love stuff like that. Yeah, I love a psychological horror.
Yes,
it's great.
Yes,
especially when it's like you say, when it's told through like color schemes and stuff like that. I just think it's like so purposeful. It's good. Just the amount of effort and ideas that go into it, like I love that.
So yes, High Rise. Lastly, I always ask this, and I always ask you to be kind if there's anything, because you know probably what's coming. Is there anything you want to ask me? I will give you an open and honest answer. This can be even a challenge. As I've said, you're the only person to witness me do 2 challenges that I have done. I've got a few that I am still backlogged in doing at the moment. Anything at all, as long as I can medically do it, and I'm not going to harm myself or anybody, because I don't do that.
I've thought about this, and I can organise it. I want you to do a shoot. Photo shoot. Yeah, I'll sort out a photographer. We'll talk about vibes. We'll do it the way that you want to do it, but I think you should do a photo shoot, and I'll be there, like cheering off camera. But I think it'll be really cool because I saw you do your last 2 challenges. It's only right that I'm there for the next one.
God, yeah. I mean, yes, I'll do it. I'm terrified now because I'm not that. As you, I'm very not sort of that person, but I'm down for that. I am so down.
Yeah.
For that. Oh my God. Thorn, are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be really fun. I think, and then I'll sort out like the photographer, and I'll find a place so it doesn't have to be any stress. Just turn up and we'll just vibe and take some cool pictures. I think it'd be really fun.
Amazing and fun and terrifying, and I'm so down for it though.
Once you do it once though, it's like actually slay, and like it's really, I find it such a confidence boost as well, and it's really fun to be like creative, and you like cosplay and stuff like that, so you think of your vibes. If you want to do something vampy, like you just color schemes, whatever you want.
Okay, I'll make it happen. Okay, I'm down for this. I have no idea. I'm going to be like, what do I do? I mean, I'm that person that pulls a funny fit. When anyone puts a camera in front of us, I'm usually just like, what do I do?
Yeah, I've always been the same as well. Like I was always like really like when it came to cameras, but I'm just so used to them being around me now. Obviously, like everyone who's close to me has a digital like, or like a professional camera, and you just get used to it. And I also direct shoots, and I can help out if you're panicking with poses. I did this not long ago. I did a shoot with it's for a top secret project that's coming out soon, and to be fair, it'll be out within about a month. So I'm excited for that. And there was a couple of people that weren't quite sure of how to pose, so I'm just behind the photographer going, do this and then do this and then do this, like sort of thing. So I'll do that.
Honestly, I'm so down for this. It'll be so even if I'm terrified, it's going to be such a laugh because you will be there and you will make it a laugh. I know you will, because of me.
It's just fun. Just fun. Yeah, that's it. It's so fun, and it's such an opportunity to put together like a vibe that you want to see yourself portrayed in. If you want to do something like gothy or like nerdy or high fashion, like if you've just got a vision, we can just make it happen, and then it's just really fun. It feels like really collaborative, and I always make sure there's like music on, and it's like everyone's having a laugh. Like I don't fuck with awkward shoots. If everyone's like, come on, chill out. Otherwise I'll be like, because I can't control my face as well. We'll have fun. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Okay, I'm so down for this. A challenge accepted. And we will sort something out, and I'll be in touch for that because it'll be hilarious. Even though I will be mortified. I don't know if you remember the photograph that they took at the end of the fire eating class, and I looked like I'd got a Phil Anselmo face on. I was just like proper like, what do I do?
I'm doing the same as well. I'm just like clocked out because that you can never do a group photo and more than 2 people be locked in at the same time. It's just not possible. It's not possible.
Honestly, though my face is hurting from laughing. I think we have more in common than I ever probably thought we had. And I am in awe of you. I said it at the beginning. I am even more in awe of you and what you do. I am looking forward to bumping into your gigs. I'm looking forward to seeing it at Venom Fest. I am looking forward to seeing what you produce and where you go and just how many other cool things you can pull out back and how weird it gets.
I want to get weird.
It's going to get weird.
Someone's going to stop me.
No, I'm there for it all. I'm there till the end. I want to see how weird this can get.
It's going to get out of hand. I'm really excited to see you at gigs as well. I love how supportive you are of the local community and artists and stuff like that. And I just think everyone should really take note of what you're doing. Even like when you say that you're nervous as well when you go into gigs, but you do it anyway, and you're supporting people and you share other people's stuff and you really care and it shines through. And I think you're an absolute icon. Also, these challenges that you've been doing, they're terrifying. Jumping in mosh pits, eating fire. Do you know what I mean? I think you're absolutely mad. And I just can't wait to see what else you come out with.
Thank you. I know it's my little thing to push myself out of my comfort zone. When you become a mum, sometimes you can get a little bit complacent into not being yourself. And this last year has been a big eye opener for me, and some of the stuff I've done and some of the wonderful people like yourself that I've met and just crazy stuff, honestly. But thank you for being my guest, for coming on, talking to me, for having such a laugh.
Thank you for asking me. When I got the message, I was like, yes, of course. I'm buzzing. Thank you.
I was nervous to ask you in case you were just like, no. I don't want to be like, oh my god.
I'll never turn down a chat. I love a natter. I was born to yap, and that's all I know.
Me too. Me too. Honestly, Thorn, thank you so much. Now, as I always say out, obviously, behave, be good. If you can't behave, don't get caught. All right? Over and out. Gigs up north. Bye, everybody.
Bye.